Hello, maybe White Sox fans, maybe Astros fans. It's your girl, Chrystal O'Keefe at Southside Sox under the Fan First Sports Network, our new network that we have. I have a special guest, and this is our inaugural podcast called Visiting Dugout, where we go over series opponents that the White Sox are facing. And since we have opening day today, we have our special guest, Ben Zeidman, for the our favorite Houston Astros. Welcome, Ben.
Thank
Please
you.
go
Good to
ahead
be
and
here.
introduce yourself.
My name is Ben Zeidman. I've been an Astros fan my whole life. I write for Apollo Media and Pitcher List, and yeah, I'm looking forward to the season. Thank you for having me. I'm glad to
Yes,
be
of
here.
course. Thank you for being my very first guest. I am very familiar with podcasting, but this is a new one, so we're excited. All right, so let's dig right into it. Astros and White Sox play in Houston for opening day. This is a big rivalry in baseball. We have 2005. You have every single year after it, it seems. But it's going to be fun. It'll be on ESPN, so it's just a really exciting home opener for everybody. So, but let's think back to the past. What are your kind of post Justin Verlander thoughts? Like, how do you feel now that he's no longer on the team?
The 2023 version of the Astros, I think, are, I mean, it's another great team. The starting rotation is definitely not as deep. I mean, we had 8 starters last year that all probably deserve to start in major league games, and that's not the case anymore. I'm still confident in the 5 that are out there. I mean, it looks like it's going to be Fromber, Javier, Garcia, Urquidy, and Hunter Brown. Hunter Brown had some back problems, but it seems like he'll be fine, and he's not pitching during this series anyways. But that's not as deep without Verlander at the top line, and it was so nice to just every Verlander start was like, well, we're probably winning this game, and to not have that anymore is a little tough. But the starting rotation still looks good, and I like the 4 that are going. I mean, I like Hunter Brown too, but I like the 4 that are going in this series a lot.
Yeah, Hunter looks, I know you said he's not even in this series. He looks incredibly promising. Like I'm a little envious of that. But yeah, he looks great. So how do you feel like this season's going to go for the Astros? Do you think you're going to go back for another championship? Do you think it might be more of a get gelled up and rebuild kind of year or what?
I think I had them at 95 wins. I think they probably win the AL West again. I think the Mariners are really good and they'll be close. Um, I also have the White Sox winning their division though, so
Oh,
an ALDS rematch might be fun this year.
I don't have them winning. That's it's going to be interesting. It'll be an interesting year. Speaking of, though, the White Sox and that, you now have one of my all-time favorite baseball players, Jose Abreu.
I would love to say I'm sorry, but I'm not.
I know. No, you shouldn't be sorry. He's going to be sorely missed by a big chunk of that fan base. And if a single White Sox fan boos them, I'm probably going to have to get into a fight with them. I'll find their seat. I'm not even going to be there. I'll find their seats. Um, but yeah, he's wonderful talent, RBI merchant, just phenomenal first baseman. Like part of me does kind of want the Astros to win it all again, just so Abreu can get a ring finally that the White Sox could
Get
never
that
provide
Nunez
him.
ring, yeah.
So how
Yeah.
exciting is that for you?
Oh, it's so exciting. I was actually just texting my friend earlier. I'm like, I'm so excited to just like root for Jose Abreu for a full season because like, I mean, he's obviously a great person and like has all the, clubhouse stuff going on and like he's a good leader and mentor and all that stuff. But just to be able to plug him into the 4 or 5 spot in the lineup, like right behind Jordan Alvarez, probably
Yeah.
is just that's like a little unfair and in a way that is that's really nice. And one thing about Jose Abreu that fits this team really well is I got, somebody on the team side who I talk to sometimes. Obviously, Jose Abreu's defensive metrics aren't like amazing, but also defensive metrics for first baseman aren't the most reliable things in the world. He's whatever team side evaluation they have has him as a really good scooper and
Mm-hmm.
like corralling bad throws and outs, which is so important for this iteration of the Astros because Pena's arm is bad, Altuve's arm is bad. I mean, they're, Pena's a great defender, but the arm, he
Yeah.
spikes a lot of throws. And so I think like that was important to them. And I'm just like really, he's going to be great on both sides of the ball. And I'm like, I'm really excited to
Yeah.
hopefully see him for 162 games because he's an Iron Man too.
He's gonna try, even if he's down. That was the one thing about him. Like he could have the flu and he's like, no, I'm still gonna play. I
Yeah.
don't care. You're gonna put me out there. So I feel like he missed like 5 games last season. That's just how he is. And man, he is so lovable. I'm still to this day really jealous.
I mean,
Anyway,
it's got to be some consolation that like Andrew Vaughn is really good and exciting and could really, take the step forward.
yeah, he is. I'm happy that he's gonna be on first base this year. He is great and he can hit that ball. Like he's got massive talent. So I'm excited. And he's very young. Jose Abreu is my age. And in baseball years, that's an elderly person. So, it's good. Like I think it's going to be a fun series. But with that series, what's your like key or keys to taking this series for the Astros?
So a big part of it is the Astros have historically hit Lance Lynn pretty well. They seem pretty well. There's a lot of guys in the lineup, Chaz and Jeremy Pena specifically, who struggle against off speeds, and Lance Lynn doesn't really throw many of those. So I think taking the Lance Lynn game is important because you have no clue what's going on with Dylan Cease and Lucas Giolito. Those guys can throw seven, any given night, and it doesn't matter how good your lineup is. Like that's not going to happen. So against Dylan Cease, particularly, it's like don't expand the zone, take your walks. And really, it's going to be, especially for the Fromber start, I think it's going to be relying a lot on double play balls from the less speedy guys in the White Sox lineup because part of the reason why I'm so high on the White Sox is because of all the injuries from last year, and they're healthy now with some notable exceptions. But like Luis Robert is, we're not going to get a double play on that guy, especially in a world with no shift and stuff like that. And so I think Andrew Vaughn grounding into a double play at the wrong time, or Grandal doing that, or it just they really need to capitalize on those things. And also I think the White Sox match up against the Houston bullpen very well because the White Sox have a lot of hitters who can handle premium velocity.
Yeah.
And, like Rafael Montero is not throwing you an off speed pitch. It's going to be a 98-mile-an-hour fastball. So I actually I kind of like the White Sox on paper for the series, but the Astros just have to execute in those specific ways. And then, I think it's going to be a good one.
Yeah. And not to mention, Yohan Moncada seems to be back and actually healthy for the first time. And I don't know, since he's been on the team,
Yeah.
he can be a big threat if he really wants to, which is really exciting. And Luis Robert, if he's out in center field, it's like he covers all three positions in one. There's the famous him running after the ball that was clearly going to Eloy Jimenez and just snatching it right up. And Jimenez is like, what was that? I was there. But, Luis Robert, he's a beast too. So,
Yeah.
but who are your biggest threats for your team? Like, who do you think can really just win this game and bring it home?
Oh, I mean, it's got to be. I mean, Jordan Alvarez has barely taken any spring at bats. He only got back a couple weeks ago, but his first two swings were like 400-foot flyouts to center field, and it was like, okay, like he's just a robot. He's gonna hit anybody and everything. And I think anytime Jordan Alvarez is healthy in the lineup on the field, it's must watch television. I love it, but. I mean, I'm pretty bought into the Jose Abreu revenge narrative. I think if I was you know, if I was a betting man, I might say Jose Abreu is going to have some clutch RBI knocks. Just be real locked in on these guys that he's played in inter squads for a couple of years.
Yeah. I love the White Sox and I love Dylan Cease. And I want them obviously to win by like 10 tomorrow or today or just whenever. But I'm not gonna lie, I do want to see just an absolute bomb off Abreu's bat on Dylan Cease the first night. Again, win by 10, but just take him yard, at
Yeah,
least
that's the
one.
only
Just because again, revenge. I mean, I sound like I'm an Astros fan at this point, but I do want that for you.
yeah.
Yeah. So, what are your just kind of general thoughts on? And it doesn't even have to be Astros, just kind of how this season is going to happen. That because players are always tearing hamstrings running to first base, at least on my end. And who knows who's going to be the sleeper agent or who's going to make it to the World Series. You mentioned the Mariners. You think are actually going to be good, and I agree. They're really sneaky good. So, how do you just kind of feel overall? Who's kind of your pick for this year?
Yeah. I mean, I think the AL West might be a little bit of a dogfight because everybody tried to get much better. I mean, the Rangers invested as much as they possibly could into that team, bringing in, an entirely new starting staff, um, and if Josh Young is good, then that lineup is really good. I don't have a great read on the AL Central generally. I said I thought the White Sox would win it. I have them as like a 90 something win team because I think the rotation's good and the bullpen's good, especially if Liam Hendricks can actually come back. I saw the news, or not the news, but I saw Rick Hahn's comment today of like, well, it was on purpose that he's not on the 60-man IL, and I was like, that would be awesome if Liam Hendricks could just come back.
Yeah, he's taken to that chemo really well. He seems to be in good health and good spirits, which is a big relief to me.
Yeah, but I mean the Mariners are very scary to me because I think that their rotation is better than the Houston rotation. The bullpen is comparable, and and they have all the star power with Julio and Ty France. When I mean last year Ty France was amazing until he got hurt, but um so and just like generally as far as baseball goes, I really like the pitch clock and the new stuff. I know some people, I don't know, like how do you feel about all that stuff?
I I still kind of just want to get through a couple regular season games before I like really place judgment because I've noticed and it's kind of like the younger guys. It's like Michael Kopech and Dylan Cease were both kind of just thrown off on it. Um, and it was causing issues. And they were saying, well, it could just be because they're so used to having a lot more time and they have to really learn to speed things up. Because I know Michael Kopech can take quite a bit of time. So I think once they adjust to that,
Yeah.
I will be more in favor of it because I do like it. Because as much as I love baseball, sometimes when a game goes 4 hours, I'm like, okay, I'm done. Especially if I'm covering the game. I'm like, oh, okay, it's midnight. I was supposed to go to bed 2 hours ago.
Yep.
let's speed this up.
Well,
So
I mean, the White Sox are in Central Time also. Whenever we travel out west, I mean, it's brutal if it's like a 4 hour game that started at 9 o'clock our time.
yeah,
It's just tough.
those games I try. I talk to my boss and I was like, if you could just try to keep me off these like really late Western games, that would be great. Cause like I've got two kids that go to school, I've got a puppy, I've got a like another job, like a full-time
Yeah,
job. So
right.
I gotta get some sleep. I can't eat, sleep, and breathe baseball. But
Yeah.
yeah.
The pitch clock thing. I mean, I most of my stuff for like most of what I do is prospect stuff. I do a lot of so I watched a lot of minor league games last year, and 2 years ago I actually worked for the Astros AAA team, um, and so I was watching pitch clocks for a year. I mean, it's actually kind of how I'm used to watching baseball at this point, and honestly, you really don't notice it after a while. I mean, it just kind of fades into the background, especially when it's not being broadcast on your television screen, which is a weird decision to do. But I'm excited about the pitch clock. I'm excited about like I'm a prospect guy, so like Oscar Colas, like I'm excited to watch him from the Astro side. Yainer Diaz is like he actually he was basically the AAA version of José Abreu if he
Yeah.
sort of couldn't catch. Like he's a catcher nominatively, but kind of can't catch. It looks like he might start at DH on opening day. So like we also have a young, exciting hitter, and like that stuff is always the most fun to me is these young guys coming up and trying to prove it.
Yeah, the White Sox, I don't know if you saw the video. the White Sox posted of Oscar Colas calling his mom after he found out that he was making, the team. And whoo, I'm not like a crier, but that
Yeah.
like this is emotional. You invest so much time in these guys, and I do. I watch a lot of AAA baseball too. So, watching him grow up through the system. And again, I think we have Jose Abreu to thank for that because he is big on like that Cuban Latin American pipeline. Like he brings so many of these players in, and just kind of watching that and just feeling really excited for the first time in a while for this hot young guy that's going to be amazing. I have a really good feeling about him. It's fun. And like I actually am excited to see him. I
Yeah.
went into the season not super excited after last
Is
year,
he
but
is he going to start in right or in left?
I think he's starting right.
Okay.
I think that's what I saw earlier. Yeah.
Oh, I'm gonna have to have a war flashback of Andrew Benintendi in left field again then because
Yeah.
Benintendi's the one who made that catch in 2018 to knock the Astros out of the ALCS. Oh man. And he's
Yeah.
gonna be roaming Minute Maid Park once again.
I am sorry. I still don't know how I feel about him, but we'll get there. Although I do want the White Sox to have a new like food option called the Andrew Chicken Tendies. Um, Personally, they're really losing out if they don't start that. But
Have
anyway,
you been to the White Sox ballpark?
I have, yeah. I go there.
Is the how are the food options?
The food is actually pretty good. They have
Yeah.
churros, which is an obvious plus. Their nachos are good. They have this station that's like different types of fries. Like one is just like salt and pepper, but it has like this sriracha ketchup. And then they've got like the garlic and parmesan fries that are so good. And yeah, like I love the food. They have Connie's Pizza, which is kind of more of a local joint, but it's all pretty good.
Yeah.
You can, and then if you get into the like club levels, they have a churro milkshake. So it's like a horchata milkshake with a ginormous churro inside of it. And it's so good.
Yeah, you have my attention. I actually happen to be going to Chicago in like 3 weeks or something to actually catch a Cubs game. I don't even know if the White Sox are in town, but if they are, I'll have to try and make it out there.
It's a cool park. It gets a lot of flack, but I think it's a great park,
Yeah.
personally. All right. So I don't want to keep too much of your time. So where can we find you? I know you and I both write for Pitcher List as well, which is pretty awesome. So we're buds on that. But let us know your Twitter where we can find your work, all of that stuff.
Yes. So I do dynasty and prospects content for Pitcher List. My Twitter is at midz4. That's MIDZE4. You can see all my thoughts on a bunch of prospects and mostly Astros stuff there. I'm also a contributor for a Houston sports media company called Apollo Media. We started during COVID. It was like 11 of us. Baseball canceled. We pivoted to Twitch streaming and it was crazy. And then baseball came back and it really blew up. And now there's, full-time employees and it's a whole thing. And so we do really cool stuff over there. It's all with a, Houston bias, but there's something for everybody. So that's at Apollo HOU. And yeah, if you want to catch any of my stuff over there, please do.
Yes, please be sure to follow him. Not all Astros fans are horrible people, but I don't think any of them are. But yeah, so thank you so much, Ben, for coming on. I look forward to this series. Hopefully, I can tweet some trash talk at you at some point. But yeah, good luck.
More than encouraged, and thanks for having me.
Yes, I'm excited for you guys to, hoist that banner and have my Jose Abreu. But yeah, again, thank you so much. Please follow Ben. And yeah, that's it. Goodbye.
See ya.